Hello, everybody. Welcome to Unity Temple on the Plaza, a place where diversity is praised and peace and harmony are the rewards. I have a few brief announcements before we begin the service this morning. This will be the last Sunday that we'll have a live audience in the sanctuary. We're going to go to strictly streaming for an indefinite period of time, primarily because of the rapid increase in COVID cases and the fact that it has somewhat come to our church. We have several people in the building that come and go throughout the week that have got it. So we're going to do what's safe, we're going to do what's best. We do have some good news coming down the road, and that is we're looking into what is called an air ionizer. An air ionizer has the potential to dissipate or kill 94.2% of all the virus, including COVID, that might be in the room. So we're testing that as we speak, and that will allow us to open up much sooner than we thought possible. So, to all the people in the audience, this is my fond farewell. I hope you return. Until then, view us on the unitytemple.com. With that being said, we'll now begin the service with the temple chimes, the opening prayer, Geneva Price, and the call to inspiration. Please say this with me if you choose. Together. On this day, we dedicate ourselves to peace on earth. We accept ourselves without harsh judgment and express appreciation for our individuality. We live without fear to meet the events of this day with confidence. We accept others without prejudice to experience a sense of unity with all people. We honor our earthly environment and recognize a oneness with all creation. In harmony with ourselves, our lives, other people, and all of nature, we live this day with a peaceful mind, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful spirit. Thank you, God. Amen.
Let it breathe on me. Let it breathe on me. Let the breath of the Lord now breathe on me. Let it breathe on me. Let it breathe on me. Let the breath of the Lord now breathe on me.
There is a place we'll go where there is mostly quiet, flowers and butterflies, a rainbow lies beside it. And with a velvet sky, a summer storm, you can feel the coolness in the air, but you're still warm. And with a mighty roar, the sky will start to cry. There's need for frightening, no more frightening, my lion. And with no fear inside, no need to run, no need to hide. You're standing strong and tall. You're the bravest of them all. If on courage you must fall, then just keep on trying and trying and trying. You're a lion in your own way. And with no fear inside, no need to run, no need to hide. I'm standing strong and tall. I'm the bravest of them all. If on courage I must fall, then I'll just keep on trying and trying and trying. I'm a lion in my own way. I'm a lion.
It is with gratitude that I'm able to join you this Sunday for our spiritual celebration service. I'm grateful to Duke for saving sacred space for me to do this the third and fourth Sundays of every month. And I'm exceedingly grateful to all of you who make this service possible. My mother and my husband and I watch this from home, as do my daughter and son-in-law and granddaughter here in Lee Summit from their home. And we thoroughly enjoy the music, the message, and the meditation. Every Sunday you bring it and you lift our spirits. And I'm sure I'm speaking for others who get the benefit of this service. I want to thank Duke especially for pulling this all together, along with Cassie Bender, as well as Christopher Schultz, Chad Carr, and Christine Garvey and others who are making sure the sanctuary is safe for those who can worship in person and that everything runs smoothly. I'm especially grateful for our musicians, and today we have Geneva Price, Jerome Johnson, Clay Kirkland, and Robert Farrago, who are bringing us the message, because you know the music is the message. I'm grateful for all of you who join us every Sunday, and those who tithe your time, your talents, and your treasures to make sure that this vital community continues to be a haven of peace and joy for everyone who has the opportunity to engage, whether live, on YouTube, on live stream. But we want to bring this uplifting message and the powerful music to everyone we can. Thank you for helping us with that. I always begin with my special prayer. Lord, fill my mouth with worthwhile stuff and nudge me when I've said enough. And I like to begin with something funny to set the tone. Little fourth grader Timmy had broken his foot in a softball game. And it was his birthday, and as tradition, the birthday person brings treats to their class. So as he was getting ready for school, he realized that he was not going to be able to hold on to his crutches and the cupcakes that his mother made to take to school. So his mother said, Noah, his older brother in 6th grade, would you mind helping Timmy get his cupcakes into the school? Noah quickly said, I could, but I prefer not to. Being older and a little snippy, a little resentful toward his younger brother, and maybe teasing. You know, that's what teenagers do, or young kids do, right? So his father saw this as a teachable moment. And he said to him, Noah, what would Jesus do? Noah quickly replied, he would heal my brother so he could carry his own cupcakes. Well, at least he knew something about some of Jesus' works and his teachings. I've titled my talk today, The Courage to Be Yourself. And I'm dedicating this talk to Reverend Dr. Ruth Mosley, founder of Westside Unity Church in Detroit, Michigan, and Unity Urban Ministerial School. Reverend Mosley made her transition last Saturday night at the age of 90. She was Reverend Mother to many of us, myself, Reverends Warren Teachout, David Adams, Julian Telesford, and another who followed in her footsteps in running the school, and my mentor, Dr. Catherine Thomas. We're all congregants here at Unity Temple on the Plaza. Reverend Ruth, when she graduated from the ministerial school at Unity, realized that there were few opportunities for African Americans to become leaders in Unity. And she got an idea to start a school in her community in Detroit that would be a satellite school to give people the basic training so that they could later come to Unity Village, finish school, and become ordained Unity ministers as she did. But there were many who didn't like the idea, thought it would never work. Reverend Ruth did not have a lot of formal education at the time. She wasn't as polished in her presentation, and she was African American. Those things seemed to be working against Reverend Ruth in our movement back in those days. We're talking the 50s and the 60s. But Reverend Ruth refused to give up on her dream. She felt that this was God speaking to her, telling her what was hers to do. Once she got a few people on board who liked the idea and supported it, she was able to convince Unity that this would be a viable part of the Unity School. And Unity Urban Ministerial School was born in 1979. It's still going strong. 177 students have graduated from this school, including those I mentioned earlier, myself, Warren Teachout, David Adams, Julian Telesford, and almost all of them have become ordained, all but 5, and have practiced the ministry in some parts of this country and other parts of the world, many still engaged in ministry. We have a proud legacy that was started by Reverend Ruth, all because she had the courage to be herself when the rest of the world told her she wasn't enough. Throughout history, there have been studies, philosophies, written works, research on the power of self-knowledge, the importance of knowing oneself. In fact, in Unity's schools, where we teach the ministerial and licensed Unity teacher programs, one of the most important courses we offer is self-awareness. I am so proud, not only because I'm an alumni of the school, but I get to be at the forefront of administering it as executive director in Reverend Ruth's and Dr. Thomas's footsteps. I'm executive director of Unity Urban Ministerial School. I get to give back to the school and to Reverend Dr. Ruth and Dr. Thomas, who have given me so much. I chose today's scripture from the book of John in Unity's textbook, the New Testament, the 8th chapter, the 32nd verse. You will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. I couldn't just settle for one, because this lesson, The Courage to Be Yourself, has so many references in the Bible. So I chose Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Had Reverend Dr. Ruth conformed to this world and what the world thought of her, I would not be standing here as an alumni of Unity Urban Ministerial School. It's quite possible I would not be ordained as a Unity minister. But people like Reverend Ruth and Dr. Thomas stand by their beliefs and their convictions, and they do so in such a way that they enable others, all the lives who touch theirs, to do the same. Socrates said, "Know thyself." And he explained that all the other things that you might want to focus on and get knowledge on are ridiculous if you don't know who you are first. Know thyself. I borrowed the title from this lesson from the book by the same title by E.E. Cummings, who wrote, "To be nobody but yourself in a world which is doing its best night and day to make you everybody else means to fight the hardest fight which any human being can fight and never stop fighting." So what is this truth that Scripture tells us will make us free? And how do we renew our minds by not conforming to what the world has to say about us? I'm drawn to the sculpture on the Country Club Plaza just east of here at the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art. It's the sculpture called The Thinker. You can Google it. If you're not in the Kansas City area near where you can drive by, you can Google it and find the picture of it on the internet. The sculpture was created by Francois Auguste René Rodin. We formally call him Rodin. He was the founder of modern sculpture. It was gifted to Kansas City in 1948 by Grant and Matilde Rosenzweig and installed on the grounds where it sits on the south lawn of the Nelson Atkins in the year I was born, 1951. The Thinker is a man posed sitting with his elbow on his knee and his hand under his chin, as if he's in deep contemplation. Perhaps the same questions he's asking himself is what we often ask ourselves. Who am I? What am I here to be? It was Mark Twain who said, "The two most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. What is your purpose? What is your reason for being?" 2 Sundays ago, I talked about the power of our thoughts to create our world. I used Unity's third principle: we create our reality through the thoughts that we think. And I also referenced Act 2, Scene 2 from Shakespeare's Hamlet, and the quote, "Nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so." So I want to engage you in some thinking today about what it means to have the courage to be yourself. Today's lesson, I was inspired by Act 1, Scene 2, or Scene 3 rather, of Hamlet, and the quote, "This above all, to thine own self be true. And it must follow as the night the day, thou canst be false to any man. Now, if Shakespeare were around today, he would change that last word man to one. And the quote would read, this above all to thine own self be true. And it must follow as the night the day, thou canst be false to any one. If you're true to yourself, the truth will set you free. Let me share a few stories to illustrate my point. In the book of John, the 4th chapter, the 1st through the 3rd verses, we read about Jesus meeting the woman at the well. Now, the significance of this story is Jesus knew who he was, but she didn't know who she was. And he was there to teach her who she was. You see, this woman came to the well at the noon hour, in the height of the day. She was not supposed to be seen in daylight. Other people ridiculed and criticized her because she was a Samaritan of mixed race. And she had a different lifestyle. So she was not approved by the people who thought they were better than her. When Jesus approached her and said, would you please give me a drink of water? She said, well, don't you realize who I am? I'm a Samaritan. You're a Jew. You can't be seen with me. You're not supposed to even be talking to me. He said, if you knew who it was who was asking you for water, you would give him a drink and he would give you living water, that you would never thirst again. That raised her curiosity. No one had ever spoken to her in that way. No Jew had ever spoken to her at all. They looked at her, looked down on her. That got her curiosity. She said, I want whatever this living water is. I want it. He said, well, go and get your husband, because not only had he broken the law by talking to a Samaritan, and he was being watched all the time by those who criticized him and put him down. But he knew who he was, and he had the courage to be himself, no matter what other people said or did. He said, go and get your husband, because the law was you were not to speak with a woman who wasn't accompanied by a man. She says, well, I'm not married. He says, oh, that's right. You aren't married. You've had 5 husbands, and the man you're living with is not your husband. She was shocked. Here's a stranger. How did he know these things about her? What was it about this man? And what is this living water? She ran back with her water to her community to tell them about this special person she had met. And she felt all of a sudden something different about herself. You see, Jesus wasn't speaking to the brokenness in her, as one minister has said. He was speaking to her humanity, her humanness. He saw her just as he saw himself, a child of God. And that changed her. She was no longer conformed to what other people thought or said about her. She was changed. She had a renewing of the mind by that one encounter with Jesus. And Jesus had already recognized the power of having the courage to be yourself, despite others criticizing and condemning him and threatening death if he did not conform to the laws and the prophets. As Jesus said later, I did not come to destroy the laws and the prophets. I came to fulfill them with one commandment, that you love one another, that you love God with all your heart, all your mind, and all your soul, and that you love your neighbor as yourself. So what he was demonstrating was this power of love. When you have the courage to be yourself, you have the courage to love unconditionally. The second story I will share is a personal story. It's a story I've carried with me for many years. As a child, I was often asked why I wasn't more like my sister. Now, my sister and brother are 11 and 10 years older than I am. And for years, I tried to live up to that expectation. I tried to leap 10 years ahead of myself. Whatever my sister did, I wanted to learn how to do. And I could never be as good as her at cooking or keeping house or managing things. She was just the epitome of that. She was my idol. But I always felt something lacking because I couldn't live up to that expectation to be more like my sister. Eventually, I came into my own as I grew into adulthood and realized that being myself was the most important thing that I could be. I was a gift from God, just as I was. And I began to focus more on my gifts and talents and not comparing myself to my sister. I don't think my sister ever knew this. But I remember my sister telling me one time this little proverb, and I don't know if she made it up or if she read it somewhere, but it stuck with me. Be who you is, because if you ain't who you is, then you is who you ain't. Now, my sister is a teacher, by the way, a retired school teacher. She knows English very well. So it wasn't a matter of her not knowing how to speak proper English. But the point is, she didn't even know that I carried this guilt with me all my life for the feeling that I could never be the person that I was expected to be because I wasn't 10 years older than myself like my sister. And that verse that she gave me helped to point me in the right direction, to just be myself. Another personal I'll tell on myself is our first grands are twins. They were baptized right here at Unity Temple. And we've always been so proud of them. They'll soon be 25. 25 years ago, when they were born, we were so excited. We wanted, and nobody in my family had had twins that we remembered, and everybody wanted to dress them up. So they got outfits from everybody, always looking just alike. Now that was really cute. And we loved it when people would stop us and see these two little girls that looked almost identical, and they'd say, "Are they twins?" "Oh yes, they're twins." But when they got to be about 5 and started kindergarten, something changed. All that time we had dressed them alike and we thought it was cute, and that's the way it should be because they're twins. But every time we got them ready for school and got them going out the door, Alexis would have an excuse for coming back in the house. "I've got to go to the bathroom. I left something. I've got to go get it." And when she would come back out, she'd have on a totally different outfit. For years, I didn't understand that. And sometimes I get upset because I had prepared the outfits early and had them all dressed and ready, and she goes and gets something else that wasn't even prepared. Why would she do that? And sometimes it didn't even match. But I realized later on, she had already had the courage to be herself. She realized that she was not Alondra. She was Alexis, and she was her own person. And as adults, we have to learn to allow our children to come into their own, to not compare them with others, to be themselves. Someone has said comparison is the thief of joy, and it is. The third story I'll tell you, and the last one, is one that I think you will remember if you've ever seen the classic children's story, The Wizard of Oz. But this one is an African-American version, musical film of The Wizard of Oz, adapted from the original in 1978. You might recognize some of the characters. If you've never seen The Wiz, Google it, you look on Netflix, it's a classic. It really is. Dorothy is played by Diana Ross, and Michael Jackson plays the part of the Scarecrow. The Tin Man is portrayed by Nipsey Russell, and the Cowardly Lion by Tim Ross. Now, Dorothy, if you remember the story, gets caught up in a tornado in Kansas. And she gets spun around and she lands in some place she's not familiar, away from home, doesn't recognize anything, she doesn't see anybody she knows. She's all by herself, and then she meets these characters on her journey trying to find her way back home. The first character she meets is the Scarecrow. And the Scarecrow is in search of a brain. The second character she meets is a Tin Man, and he's in search of a heart. And the third character is the Cowardly Lion. He's in search of courage. Now, we know a lion is supposed to be king of the beasts, and he's supposed to have all the courage. So imagine a lion not being able to live up to the expectations of all the other lions. So in the process, they each are searching for something. Dorothy wants to go home. The Scarecrow wants a brain, the Tin Man wants a heart, and the Cowardly Lion wants courage. So they're off to meet the wizard to give them these things. On their journey, they discover the metaphysical interpretation, by the way, which as a child, we don't get that. It's fun and it's cute and we like the music and the dancing, but we don't necessarily get the meaning, like the allegories when Jesus tells stories like the Good Samaritan or the Samaritan woman. We don't get the meaning until we've had some experience in life to relate to. And so as experienced adults, we see the Wiz in a different way. The scarecrow, Dorothy represents home, represents our foundation, our fundamental principles, our source, our grounding, our higher state of consciousness. And the scarecrow represents the mind. The Tin Man represents that body of the heart. And the Cowardly Lion represents spirit. In the end, on their journey, they all find what they were looking for. When they meet up with Lena Horne, who plays the part of the Good Witch, and tells them that everything they were looking for they had all along. It was right within themselves. It's called consciousness in our terms. In one of the many beautiful songs in that musical, Lena Horne sings If You Believe in Yourself. Earlier, as the service began, Jerome sang I'm a Lion, which is one of the songs that the lion sang when he was finally finding his courage, understanding who he was here to be. I won't even attempt to sing the song because nobody can sing it like Lena, but I'll read some of the words that she gave to those 4 characters. If you believe within your heart, you'll know that no one can change the path that you must go. Believe what you feel, and you'll know you're right, because the time will come around when you'll say it's yours. Believe that you can go home. Believe you can float on air. Yes, click your heels 3 times. If you believe, then you'll be there. That's why I want you to believe in yourself. Right from the start, you've got to believe. Believe in the magic right there in your heart. Go ahead, believe all these things, not because I told you so. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself as I believe in you. It takes courage to make our life's journey and see it all the way through without giving up and giving in to what other people say we should or could be. It is the courage that Jesus had, not conforming to what others said, but transforming himself and all whose lives he touched by the renewing of the mind, like the woman at the well. It is the courage that I had to let go of what others' expectations were of me and to find my own voice, to have the courage to believe in myself. It's the courage my granddaughter had to choose her own style, although the pressure was on to look like her sister. It is the courage that Unity's co-founder, Myrtle Fillmore, had to express wholeness in mind, body, and spirit when the medical science, the doctors told her otherwise, that she was going to die in 6 months from terminal tuberculosis, and that's actually the foundation of Unity, is her healing. The courage to believe in oneself. It is the courage that Dorothy, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion had. They found it within themselves, and they found their way back to their source, wholeness in mind, body, and spirit. In every one of these stories, the revelation is once they knew the truth, it was the truth that made them free. So I ask you, do you know who you are? Do you know what you're here to be? Do you know why you're here? What's your purpose? Or do you have someone else in your ear or in your mind who has told you that you're not enough, that you'll never be enough? Or do you have the courage to be yourself? To fulfill our desires, we can return home by letting go and letting God be God in us. How do we do that? First, we have to become still, like the thinker, and contemplate. Who am I? What am I here to be? What is mine to do? Not what someone else says we are, should be, and could be, but who do I think I am? We engage our mind and our body and our spirit in mindful contemplation. And there in that Trinity, we find the courage to be ourselves. As E.E. Cummings said, to be nobody but yourself in a world which is doing its best night and day to make you everybody else means to fight the hardest fight which any human being can fight, and to never stop fighting. Believe in yourself means having faith in your own capabilities. When you believe in yourself, you can overcome self-doubt and gain the confidence to rise above your circumstances and transform into the person that you and you alone are meant to be. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. Think on that as we move into that space of silent meditation.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Reach a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer.
I now invite you to settle in to a comfortable position. Hold your back nice and straight. Sit or lie in a wakeful posture. When you feel ready, you may close your eyes. Allow your neck and shoulders to relax. Rest your arms in a way that feels comfortable. Place your hands gently at your side or in your lap. Take a few full deep breaths. Inhale slowly and then slowly release it. Breathing in, breathing out. Return your breath to its natural flow. Allow it to flow in and out as you focus your attention on your breathing. Breathing in, breathing out. Whenever you feel your mind wandering, just return your attention to your breath. Breathing in, breathing out. You might even repeat those words as you inhale and exhale. Breathing in, breathing out. Now relax your attention and take a moment to notice how you feel. Scan your body mentally from head to toe. Wherever there is any tension, just breathe into it. Do not resist it or try to force it to go away. Just breathe. We live in a unique time, and we are fortunate to explore who we are. We have the freedom to live on our own authentic terms. There is an increased acceptance of people from all varieties, sexual orientation, race and ethnicity, our taste in music, religious preferences are none, our hair color. But as we strive to find the courage to be who we are, to become the person we dream of being, we may still face pressures from our family or community, pressures that influence our choices. What do we study in school? What profession to practice? How we should behave? Who we should love? Who we should marry? We're fortunate to live in a society that allows us the freedom to be who we are. One of the gifts of the silence, of meditation that we practice in unity, is it brings us closer to who we truly are. The first step is awareness. By going within, into the silence, we become aware of emotions, motivations, desires, and beliefs that lie beneath our thoughts. By getting quiet, we can hear what is percolating at the source of our being, and we can tune into the barriers we feel are holding us back. Thoughts we have about ourselves that are not true, family influences, fear of objection, false negatives. With that awareness, we can begin to overcome those barriers and make our best effort to live our authentic selves and to honor our true nature. So I invite you now to go deeper into that quiet and take these words as your own. As I quiet my mind in prayer, I envision every thought bathed in the harmonizing power of divine love. Thoughts transform in the presence of harmonizing love, and I can see a way where I thought there was no way. I am able to hold my heart open in generosity and to lean in to the good and the just in a spirit of harmony in the silence. I invite you now to bring your attention back to your breathing. As we close this session of prayer, we breathe a breath of appreciation for the truth that renews and refreshes us, knowing our oneness with God and our divine faculties of harmony, life, strength, and wisdom. We go forward to meet the remainder of this day. When you feel ready, take another deep, relaxing breath and open your eyes. To remind yourself throughout this day to do what makes you happy. Surround yourself with those who make you smile. Laugh as much as you breathe, and love as long as you live. In the words of Joseph Campbell, the privilege of a lifetime is being who you are. By finding the courage to be yourself, you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free.
It's a time for
Breathing
loving. There is a time for embracing, for throwing past stones away. There is a time for healing. There is a time for giving. There's a time for building bridges. And that time is now. And that time is now. And that time is now.
Gonna take a chance for once in my life. Gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, it's time that I realize that there are kids in the street without enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their needs? A course of disregard, a broken bottle top, and a one-man soul. We followed each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got no place to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking you to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. Yeah. Na 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 na. Ooh, I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. It's time that I realize there are some with no home, not a nickel to loan. Could it be, really be, pretending that we're not alone? Oh, well, oh, deeply scarred, somebody's broken heart, and a one-man's dream. We followed each other on the wind, you see, 'cause they got no place to be. That's why I'm starting with me. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Woo! And I'm asking you to change his ways. And no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror, and I'm asking you to change his ways. And no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror, and I'm asking you to change his ways. And no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change.
Well, it's a time of the service when we take a moment to express our gratitude. I'm sure you have many things in your life that you're thankful for, as do I. Plus, just for being Americans, we can be thankful for being a human being, for having life. So this is a month where we have 30 days of gratitude. Every day at 11 o'clock, there's a program on unitytemple.com or Facebook where you can go and join a 30-minute program where people talk about gratitude and how to make gratitude a regular part of your life. So we're going to begin today with the lesson for 30 days of gratitude, and today it is friendship. Without friendship, life would be quite dull. Today is the day to focus your attention on the friends who brighten your world, who've been by your side no matter what, who can call you day or night for a chat, who puts a smile on your face when you think of them. Friendship, whether it's in the form of another person, the form of a pet, the form of somebody that has passed on, that was a good friend. We say thank you for all the friends that we have. Also today, we give thanks for our wonderful musicians. Jerome Johnson, doesn't he look handsome? Yes. Clay Kirkland. Robert Farrago. And Geneva Price. And today we honor the people of this community whose names begin with W, Y, and Z. And thank you to all the WYs and Zs. We love you, we bless you, and we behold the Christ Spirit within you. This concludes our service for today. And as I said earlier, it'll be the last service that we'll have a live audience for some time. Hopefully we'll be open by Christmas, but we just don't know. Everything depends on how we're able to manage, if we can, the COVID virus. So we'll close today with the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us wherever we are. God is, and all is well. We'll now sing a peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be with God as creator. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment